Please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for getting latest updated video.
Hello friends, this is our second session related with e-commerce and e-governance. In previous session we have discussed definition of e-commerce. Thereafter we have to study various advantages of e-commerce, even though there are also some disadvantages also related with e-commerce. Then we have discussed difference between traditional commerce and e-commerce, then which is more convenient, reliable, that we have already discussed. And then we have also studied types of e-commerce. Then in that topic we have discussed four types of e-commerce, that is B2C, that is business to consumer, then business to business, consumer to consumer, and at the end consumer to business. Then we also discussed the 3 marks question, what is e-commerce trade cycle. So in that we know that there are 4 different phases of e-commerce trade cycle. In that our first phase is pre-sale, then second one is my execution phase, then settlement, and at the end after sale. Thereafter, completing the electronic commerce trade cycle, we have discussed very important concept, that is modes of payment. Means when we complete our transaction we need to payment to the third party. So that's why we have to use so many modes of payments option we have studied. In that, widely used credit cards, then we use mobile payments with the help of app, that is Google Pay, Paytm, Bheem, UPI, then Phone Pay options, and there are many more options are available. Then we can also prefer online fund transfer, that is bank transfer, and in that case we used NEFT, IMPS, and the last mode of payment that we discussed, that is e-wallet. In that we used Paytm wallet, SBI Buddy wallet application is also available. So these things we have studied in previous session. Now in today's session we are going to see the different forms of m-commerce, then what is EDI, what are the types of e-governance, and what are the security methods. So guys, let me start with m-commerce. Now today's first topic is forms of e-commerce. In that we are going to discuss now guys m-commerce. M-commerce stands for mobile commerce. Means what guys? We can buy or sell of any goods and services with the help of our mobile phone, or we can also use tablets. But for to use this facility guys, we required a special smartphone that should support the different websites. These websites will provides you to purchase or to sell goods on various related products to other person. So generally m-commerce is buying and selling of goods and services through wireless handheld device that we call mobile phones, or we can also use tablets. Then guys, online shopping platform without needing to use desktop computer. Some application of m-commerce are mobile banking, then ticket booking, e-bill payment, online auctions, stock market trading. Then even though we also book our movie ticket with the help of bookmyshow.com. So these are the basic example of m-commerce. Now guys, our second type of m-commerce is social commerce. So generally guys, social commerce nowadays it plays very big role in digital marketing. Now social commerce is a form of electronic commerce that involves social media, online media that supports social interaction. Social commerce is use of networking website such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So these are the various medium through which we can approach the people or the person by providing various ads, then providing various offers, so through which we can sell our products, and we just try to reach to each and every person by help of these applications, that is Facebook, Instagram. Even though we also seen so many advertisement, and they also gives provide you various kinds of ad, so user can follow this ad, and they try to get a best deal to purchase a specific product. Now guys, the next most important topic is EDI. EDI plays very important role in e-commerce. Means guys, when we purchase any buying or selling any kind of transaction with the help of internet, EDI plays very important role. So guys, EDI stands for electronic data interchange. It is a standard format, a process that allows a company to send the information to another company electronically rather than paper. Means guys, suppose if I am providing the requirement to the company, means I want the details of suppose cold drinks, so I order to the company in the form of electronic media, and then company will reply me, means bills and product details. They also send me the details with the in also in electronic form. So this kind of information received or sent with the help of EDI, that is electronic data interchange. Many business documents can be exchanged using EDI. Two most common documents are purchase order and invoice. So from our point of view, invoice is very important. So in that case, we'll get the details of product. Then if there any warranty is also there included in that, so in that case date is also important, product number is also important, and we also get the details of GST, CST and actual cost that we have pay to that particular party. So these are regarding about EDI. So it plays very important role while performing any kind of communication or transaction through internet. So now next concept is e-governance. So guys, when we used these kinds of information, we sharing the information, we perform so many transactions. Sometime there might be a misbehave or there might be a fraud in case of so many transactions. So in that case, e-governance play very important role. The basic purpose of e-governance is simply process for all the queries related with citizens, business, etc. So there are so many advantages related with e-governance. E-governance specially works on smart formula. So S stands for simple, M stands for moral, A stands for accessible, R stands for responsive, and T stands for transparent government. So let me discuss few of the example related with e-governance. Now the first major advantage is reduced corruption. So now guys, we know that now for any government sector, if we want to do any kind of work, then we give some money to perform that work. So for that purpose, we need to pay to that particular employee. So then and then our work will be successfully done. So this is nothing but what? Corruption. So the major advantage of e-governance is what guys? Reduced corruption. And they try to provide a high transparency in all kinds of works or transaction. Then it also try to increase the convenience, the person, those who are trying to approach to that government, then it should be transparently handled without any corruption. Then it try to reduce overall cost and expanded reach of government. So these are the basic advantages of e-governance. Means most of the e-governance formula, they try to focus on reduce corruption and provide high transparency, and at the same time it try to reduce overall cost. So guys, thereafter we see some types of e-governance. So guys, there are 4 different types of e-governance. So in that case, government included with citizens, business, then government with state government with other state government, or central government with state government, and then how government related with employee. So according to the different role, it is classified into 4 different parts. So let we guys discuss one by one. So now our first type of e-governance is government to citizen, and generally it is termed as G2C. The government to citizen refers to the government services which enables citizen to get access to wide variety of public service. So generally guys, it helps the ordinary people to reduce the time and cost to conduct a transaction. Now guys, our second part is government to business, and in short it is called G2B. So in that case, what happens guys, the government to business is exchange of services between government and business organization. Means e-tenders and the various transactions which is traded between government and the particular organization, or you can say that business. Say for example, road tender or PWD, road constructions or dam constructions, thereafter railway lines. Then it also includes such types of civil services. So it aims at elimination of paperwork, saving time, cost, and establish transparency in business environment. So this is the major plus point with government to business. Now guys, we move to our third type of e-governance is third type is government to government, that is called G2G. So in that case, what happened guys, government to government refers to the interaction between different government departments, organization and agency. So let me take the recent example. Now in COVID pandemic, most of the instructions and guidelines are dispatched from central government, and these instructions should carry forward to all the state governments. So state governments refers all the transaction, all the instructions, guidelines provided by central government, and according to the situation they may change some guidelines in that, and they must need to implement in that case. Means now guys, what we see that nowadays in some state the effect of COVID-19 is too much high. Say for example, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Delhi, these states, they are highly affected with COVID-19, but few of the states, there are less impact of this COVID-19. So according to the central government instructions, what happened guys, they gives the guidelines, means total freeness available to the person, or give the restrictions. So according to that guidelines, government should react. So these are come under government to government. In G2G, government agencies can share the same database using online communication. Means these kinds of GR or guidelines, instructions that can be easily shared. Now guys, our last type of e-governance is government to employee. In this case, the government to employee is internal part of G2G, that is government to government sector. G2E aims to bring employees together and improvise knowledge sharing. Similarly, G2E provides online facilities to employees like applying for leave, reviewing salary payments, records, checking the balance of holidays, etc. Let me take the example of suppose one central government employee. Suppose a employee works at Delhi for XYZ post from last 10 years, and that employee get promotion, and it that employee get transfer from Delhi to Mumbai. So in that case, the total detailed description and all the details sent by Delhi government to Mumbai region, so that particular department, so that department can try to track off all the information. So this is the benefits of transferring the information between government to government, and indirectly its benefit get by that particular employee. The next important concept is security measures in e-commerce. Now guys, what happen, we are trying to purchase different things with the help of websites or with the help of different app. But guys, when we used these things, we need to keep the safety, that is safe transaction. In that case, our money should be in trouble. So e-commerce provides you the major securities in different way. So generally e-commerce security refers to the principle which guide safe electronic transaction, and it allows to buy and sell of goods through internet. So guys, there are three different types of security measures. In that, first concept is encryption. Encryption is widely used on internet to protect user information being sent between browser and a server. Generally guys, when we send some information through mail from one person to another person, there might be a chance of hack that information or hack that mail by unauthorized user or by hacker. So to protect this kind of information, encryption concept is very useful. This is a very powerful tool. So what actually encryption did, it tried to convert your actual data into readable to unreadable form. Means suppose unfortunately your data get hacked, that unreadable data received by unauthorized person, or you may also called hacker, that person cannot get the actual information, that is original code. So guys, this is happened due to encryption. So to receive our original data, so we have to perform a reverse process, that is called decryption. Means encryption converts plain text, that is readable data, into unreadable data, that is called ciphertext. And this decryption is exactly a reverse process, that is it converts ciphertext, that is unreadable data, into plain text, that is readable form. So there are two types of encryption techniques are used, symmetric and asymmetric. In symmetric technique, it shared secret encryption, and in asymmetric, public key encryption concept is used. So guys, this thing I'm going to explain you with some diagram. So let me see. Now guys, this is the example. Suppose if I have a plain text, that is we may call suppose password, and suppose my password is ABC. So this password I want to send from one person to another person, but I have a doubt to misuse this password or it get hacked by unauthorized person. So I am using encryption concept, that is that ABC password is converted into coded form of data, and that coded form of data is called ciphertext. Then this ciphertext information sent to the receiver, and that person should also know the decryption key. Decryption key means what? How to review that coded data into our original data. So that process is called decryption, means it converts the coded data, that is ciphertext, into readable data, that is called plain data. So this process is called decryption, means this ABC password is converted into some another data, and that data again regained by that authorized person, it is called decryption. So in that case, we just try to keep our OTP password data secured from unauthorized user. So these are regarding about encryption, and in examination there is always one question asked on encryption and decryption concept. So in that case, you just try to explain within two points each. Now guys, we move to our second security measures of e-commerce, is digital signature. A digital signature is also known as an electronic signature. Generally guys, digital signature gives assurity or authenticity of electronic document or message in digital communication to the right person. So generally what happen guys, we are going to send the details to the person, but we don't know whether that person should receive that information correctly or not, or it get in between that communication, that data should misused by other. So avoid such thing. So this is a security threat. So to avoid these such things, digital signatures is widely used. Now guys, digital signatures are used in e-commerce, software distribution, financial transaction. So we may also see the different type of examples. Suppose if I am going to purchase MS Office 2016 license CD. So guys, whenever I am going to insert that CD in my computer, and if I am trying to download that software, so first of all it will ask me a product key. So that product key, or it is a secret code. So with the whenever I am going to enter a correct secret code, then and only then that software allows us, first of all it verifies whether that data, the number you have entered, whether it is correct or not. If it is correct, then and only then that software allows us to install it in our computer. So this is called what? Digital signature. Now guys, our last security measure in e-commerce is digital certificate. A digital certificate is an electronic password that allows a person, organization to exchange data securely over internet using public key infrastructure. So most of the time in examination there might be a question, PKI stands for. So in that case we should write down the full form, and we should also know the full form of PKI, that is public key infrastructure. Digital certificate is also known as public key certificate or identity certificate. In this case, information is transferred between authorized partners who have digital certificate issued by some supreme authority. So, digital signature and digital certificate, these concepts helps to protect our confidential data, password, or any meaningful information, so it should not misused by unauthorized user. So these are the various security measures that we are going to discuss in this session. Now guys, let me see how a sample digital certificates looks like. So now guys, we are going to move the summary section of this lesson, means which thing we have discussed in previous session as well as in today's session. So e-commerce stands for buying and selling of good with the help of internet. Then we have discussed types of e-commerce, that is B2C, B2B, C2C and C2B. So guys, there is always one question asked in online examination for 4 marks. What is e-commerce? And explain or state various types of e-commerce. So in that case guys, definition is expected from you, and all these 4 types you need to explain in short. Then we have also discussed e-commerce trade cycle, then in how the trade cycle bifurcates. So we studied there are 4 different phases of trade cycle, that is pre-sale, execution, settlement and after sale. In pre-sale we have just select the product. After finalizing the product we go for the payment and billing section. So after performing that one, suppose if we have any electronic products, so that products have some warranty or guarantee, so then these things are comes under after sale. Thereafter we have also discussed the different modes of payment, means after completing our transaction we used credit cards, mobile payment, online bank transfers, that is IMPS, NEFT, or we can use e-wallets to pay for that particular transaction. Then we discussed guys what is e-governance and what are the different types of e-governance technologies or techniques are used. Yeah. And we also studied the EDI, that is electronic data interchange, and how it is one of the most important technology for paperless exchange of information. It reduces paperwork, it saves time, it saves cost, means total billing details. So there might be a different types of human errors are there, but it try to resolve all kinds of error which are generated by human, that is called man-made error. Then we discussed the different forms of e-commerce. In that case we have first studied mobile commerce, means how we can purchase or sell the goods and services with the help of mobile gadgets, or you may say tablets. Then how social commerce helps for business, that is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So that also plays a very important role in business. Thereafter we see the various security measures, that is encryption, digital signature, digital certificate, and it try to protect your data, or you may say that misuse of data by hackers, or you may say that unauthorized user. So guys, you listen these both the videos, and if you found any difficulty regarding this topic, so please write me in comment section, or you can also send me your queries on our WhatsApp group. So guys, this is a theoretical lesson, so you just try to read it, this lesson twice or thrice, so that's why you will get the actual idea. And also after completing this lesson you just try to solve the exercise given in the book. So that exercise consists of fill in the blanks. They also gives you some true or false. Then multiple choice MCQ questions are also given, that is one correct answer, two correct answer. Then some short questions are also there. So you just try to write down and try to solve the questions which are given in exercise section. So if you found any difficulty in that, so you can ask me, so we'll try to resolve your query. So thank you guys.